Halloween comes early and stays all month long in October 2019. I'm Armand Diaz with your forecast for the month, and I got to tell you, it's a very Plutonian month. We come out of the Libra new moon, which is on the 28th of September, and we get right into scorpionic vibes quickly. So if we feel that we've sort of moved past Libra season a little bit early, that's understandable. We're going to have an extended scorpionic time this year. Now, let me sort of break it down for you. First on our list, Pluto stations to retrograde on October 3rd. Now, Pluto stations and the days around them always feel very scorpionic, Plutonian, and intense. So that's part of the vibe of the first week in October. Right away, we're getting quickly into this Plutonian vibe. If we had any doubts about that, on October 1st, Venus is square to Pluto. And so there's already, in terms of relationship, in terms of finances, in terms of values and valuables, there's already this sort of Plutonian intensity. Hours after, like literally an hour after Pluto stations to go direct on October 3rd, Mercury, the planet of communication, lends his Plutonian edge to things by moving into the sign of Scorpio. So we have right away a kind of early on, first 3 days of the month, we're getting Plutonian scorpionic intensity very, very strongly. Now, as we move out down through the first week, we come across Saturn and the Sun in square to each other on October 7th. And while not Plutonian, this is certainly a bit of a heavy energy, a time when we start looking at responsibilities, but a time when we start looking at, all right, what are we doing for ourselves, and what are the resistances that we're hitting? And so I feel that first week, you know, we're brought to this intensity. We're brought to the what's real, what really matters. What am I really going to do? What do I really need to do? You know, back during Leo season, it was all about, you know, where's my heart? And then Virgo, how do I make that practically happen? With Libra, how do I relate to others? How do I continue to play the game? And now it was like, okay, wait a second. What really works? What really doesn't work? What am I keeping and what am I getting rid of? Very, you know, intense, very, very direct. At the same time, Mars, one of the rulers of Scorpio, on October 4th, leaves Virgo and goes into Libra, and it'll be there for about another 6 weeks. Well, Mars in Libra, typically thought of as being not the best placement for the cosmic warrior, a little too rule-oriented, a little too polite, sometimes associated with a bit of passive-aggressive stuff, but I think maybe that is a possibility, but I think there's more of a tendency to sort of get what you want done by following the rules, except for the fact that Mars in Libra is going to be squaring Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So maybe not that much of a diplomatic kind of energy coming out of it this time around. He'll also be on October 8th, as soon as he gets into the sign, he'll also be opposing Chiron. And that can be kind of a matter of, you know, Mars in Libra opposing Chiron and Aries. There's a little give and take between the two, but it's sort of what am I willing to do to assert myself? What am I doing to express myself? And where do I have doubts? Where do I have doubts about this? Where am I hesitant? Where am I a little bit overcautious? So it's definitely a little bit of a tricky situation to navigate. First week of the month, very scorpionic. Now, also on October 8th, Venus moves into Scorpio. Again, relationships, finances, concerned about the value of things get much more intense, much more real, much more bare bones in a way. Venus in Libra, all about being diplomatic, being gracious. Venus in Scorpio, just getting to the point. What's the first thing that Venus does? As any scorpionic planet would do, on the 12th, opposes Uranus. Now, with Venus in Scorpio, there is that scorpionic intensity, not too different from I should say, resonating with the Venus-Pluto square at the beginning of the month. Now Venus has taken on some of that Plutonian energy, and in opposition to Uranus at a full moon, things could kind of catch fire there. Things could kind of blow a little bit. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a kind of clearing the air energy, right? It's clearing the air. What really works for me? What can I really abide by? And what can't I? Becomes the questions that are up at this time. Now, the full moon itself is on October 13th, and it is a really interesting full moon because it is both sextile to Jupiter and very, very closely squared to Pluto. And again, you know, it takes the same energy, but it takes it outside of the area of relationship and finance, and it just makes it a thing. What works, what doesn't work, and where are we struggling? Where are we struggling to make things happen? And where are we willing to push through resistance? Where are we willing to dig in? Where are we willing to exert power? And that really and truly is the thing that we're thinking about all month long. It peaks right at the middle of the month at the full moon, but it's something that we're thinking about all month long. Where are we willing to exert power? And for what? And for what? That matters as well. Coming off of the full moon, we have some easier types of energy, a lot of sextiles and so on. We have Venus sextile to Saturn. We have Mercury is going to be trine to Neptune as we come into the last quarter moon and go beyond that. So we get a little bit of a break right there in that third week or so of October. We start coming into the new moon on October 27th. However, the sun goes into Scorpio on the 23rd. We're heading towards the new moon. Mars is square Saturn just before the new moon. Again, it's about an hour before the new moon. So we're feeling this energy. Mars in Libra square Saturn in Capricorn is not so bad. It really suggests focused energy. And I think that that is probably about the best we can get out of that aspect. And it's about the best we can get out of this new moon. But that's what we're thinking about. Again, it's this kind of, where am I willing to exert the power? And we better think about it, because the next thing that happens is that the sun, as any Scorpio planet would, opposes Uranus. And again, we're not in a position to hold back. It's funny, I mean, if you're watching this forecast at the beginning of October or even the end of September, we're just coming off of Libra season. Where are we willing to play the game? Where are we willing to have some give and take with others? All of a sudden, where are you not willing to play the game? Where are you not willing to compromise with others? Where are you determined to assert yourself and ready to break away from things that are limiting you? So it's a big shift in energy. It lasts all month long. And it is a kind of Halloween goth kind of energy for some of us, I'm sure. I think that anybody is liable to be feeling this as sort of a power struggle, power broker kind of month. And for some of us, it's going to sort of pull us a little bit more towards that sense of endings. And sometimes endings are necessary. And finally, as we get to the end of the month on Halloween itself, October 31st, Mercury stations to retrograde, and you know about that, right? Of course, it's in the couple of weeks before Mercury goes retrograde that we start to get a sense of what's going on. We get a sense of what the retrograde is going to be about. This retrograde happens entirely in a water sign. I'm not prejudiced against Mercury retrograde in water signs, but I got to tell you, I think that they tend to be the roughest retrogrades. I think the one in the summertime, particularly at the point where Mercury was retrograding in Cancer, was tough. And I'm not so sure that Mercury retrograding in Scorpio is going to be much easier. The only positive thing that I see, you know, right off the bat out of that is that if October gave you some occasions to, let's say, mouth off, you might be able to kind of temper things down a little bit during the retrograde. You might be able to go back and do some repair work. You might. All right, I will see you in November. Another idea, though, I should really see you before November as you watch the weekly forecast, which you'll get by subscribing to this channel. And of course, you can always follow on Facebook and get daily updates, which are in some ways, perhaps, maybe the most important. I like weekly updates, though. I think a week is a good chunk of time. Anyway, use your judgment, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.